In the spring of 1997, the Disney Channel underwent a massive overhaul, rebranding itself both in appearance and programming. At the time, Disney Channel was transitioning from a premium cable channel to a basic cable channel, where they'd face stiff competition from the king of kids programming, Nickelodeon. Disney began to ramp up production on original series aimed at a younger audience, but with enough substance to keep parents entertained as well.
Disney, the first network for kids and families.
Their foray into original programming began with Flash Forward, a coming-of-age series that only lasted 26 episodes. Disney's first hit original series would arrive in the fall of 1998, a show about a superstar who just wanted to live a normal life. Nope, not that one. This was the famous Jett Jackson. The Famous Jett Jackson began as the brainchild of writer Fracaswell Hyman. Hyman was working as a writer on the PBS show Ghost Rider when he took a trip to visit his mother in Willard, North Carolina. He thought about what it would be like if the lead actor of Ghost Rider had to come to a small town like Willard, where everyone knew him, but he didn't know them. This thought led to the story for Jett Jackson. The show would focus on Jett, a young TV star who played the title role in the fictional action series Silverstone. After growing weary of life in Hollywood, Jett convinces the producers of Silverstone to move production to his hometown of Willstead, North Carolina. Jett would face many challenges balancing life as a regular kid and life as a TV star, but get by with help from his friends and family. After pitching the show to Disney and receiving the green light, Hyman and his team began an extensive search for a young actor to play the role of Jett Jackson. One night, while watching TV, a Robitussin commercial came on featuring a young actor Hyman was immediately drawn to.
I think my mom has psychic powers.
Don't drink out of that milk carton, young man.
It's like she knows what's gonna happen before it happens.
No video games before your homework.
I didn't know who he was, but I was like, oh my god, he's absolutely perfect. He was just what I had in mind for Jett. Luckily, the casting director agreed, and the show had found its star, Thompson Young.
I'm Thompson Young, behind the ears of Disney. Today we're on the set of Disney Channel's new original action-adventure series, The Famous Jett Jackson.
The show premiered on October 25th, 1998. The pilot episode introduced the main characters: Ryan Summersbaum as Jett's best friend JB, Gordon Green as Wood Jackson, Jett's father, Montrose Haggins as Miss Coretta, Jett's great-grandmother, and Melanie Nichols-King as Jules Jackson, Jett's mother. The only character not introduced in the pilot is Carrie Duff as Kayla. Instead, a character named Anna, played by Amy Correa, is featured in the episode. Not much is known why Correa did not continue with the show after the pilot, but it's clear that the character of Anna was originally supposed to serve the same purpose as Kayla.
It was nice meeting you, TV star.
The Famous Jett Jackson became Disney Channel's flagship original series. It was unique as it was the first show on Disney Channel to feature a primarily African-American cast. That wasn't by chance. According to former Disney Channel executive Rich Ross, we felt diversity was missing from the channel at that point, so it became mandatory to be inclusive if we were to march forward as a kid-driven brand. Jett Jackson, and in turn Thompson Young, became a role model for all young boys, but especially young black boys. Most shows with young black leads at the time were sitcoms, with characters who were often young, dumb, and funny. In some cases, the leads weren't even human.
That music sure was funky. Woo! So am I.
The Famous Jett Jackson offered something different. Jett was cool. Jett was an action star. He had it all together and had great friends and family. He didn't always make the right choices, but he always learned from his mistakes. When asked about the show's appeal to black youth, Fracaswell Hyman says it's someone who looks like you, you know? That gives you the idea, hey, I can do something like that someday, or be something, which was the point. The second season began filming in the spring of 1999. As the actors in the show matured, so did the show. The producers made the decision to make the show appeal to a slightly older audience. This involved adding more action, special effects, and guest stars. The Silverstone sections were greatly increased and often mirrored what was happening in Jett's world. Britney Spears notably made a guest appearance in the Season 2 Halloween episode Ghost Dance. The show would later welcome guest stars varying from Eartha Kitt to Usher to Destiny's Child, marking one of Beyoncé's earliest acting roles.
I'll miss you, Jett, but you'll always be my little brother down in Wilstead.
The show also introduced 2 new characters, Lindy Booth in the dual role of Hawk and Riley Grant, and Nigel Shawn Williams in the dual role of Artemis and Nigel Essex. The show also received a new in-credits song from the boy band Youngstown called It's Not What You Think. The song was heavily promoted on Disney Channel and was featured on the band's debut album. Lee Thompson Young was featured on the song, rapping a verse that was featured in the episode On The Real.
Silverstone is the code name, and if saving the world was a basketball game, only the stakes were higher. The only difference between me and MJ would be that I haven't yet retired. Still in the game.
One episode in Season 2, titled Saving Mr. Dupree, proved that the show was able to handle serious storylines. In the episode, Jett's English teacher, Mr. Dupree, is fired for teaching Fahrenheit 451, a book banned by the town's mayor. Kayla encourages her fellow classmates to stand up against censorship and battle the mayor.
If it's a fight they want, it's a fight they're gonna get. What are they gonna do, arrest me?
Kayla does get arrested, and soon after, Jett gets arrested for staging a protest at school. Everyone ends up in court to try to get the law against the book changed and save Mr. Dupree's job.
You see, Mayor Beale, you can destroy our books, but you can't destroy what's in our minds. No one can take that away.
This episode was only the first in a series of topical episodes that would arrive in the show's 3rd and final season. The episode Heroes focuses on Jett's father, Wood Jackson, and his battles with PTSD after being involved in a shootout during a traffic stop.
And a special thank you for keeping our family members safe. Amen.
Dad, it was just a car backfire.
Tomorrow after the ceremony, driving up to Raleigh. Need some help in putting all that's happening into perspective. There's a therapist there who works with officers after these types of events.
The episode Food for Thought featured Rachel McAdams in her first acting role as the sister of Jett's co-star Riley Grant. It's revealed in the episode that McAdams' character suffers from an eating disorder.
Uh-oh. I know that look. What is it?
You were going in there to make yourself throw up.
What? No.
Because I've been around enough actresses who've had that habit. I know the signs. I just can't believe someone as smart as you would do this to themselves.
Riley, you're being ridiculous. I don't know where you got this idea, but I want you to drop it, okay? You don't know what you're talking about.
Hannah.
Okay, fine. I do this once in a while, but it's no big deal.
No big deal?
The challenges of being an interracial family in the Deep South are explored through the character of Kayla in the episode Pledge of Allegiance.
Dad, you think I don't know what it's like out there? You think every time people see me and mutter half-breed or mutt under their breath that I just don't notice? Trust me, I know what it's like to be judged, to be excluded.
Well, then you can understand how year after year of living with it has taken its toll.
But perhaps the most mature storyline of the series is featured in the episode Lost and Found. Jett gets lost in Charlotte, North Carolina, and ends up having his eyes open to the realities that many black men face in America. The episode features him getting arrested by 2 cops for a mild act of aggression, and the cops don't release him until they realize he's a famous actor. The way the show handles this sensitive material is quite impressive, especially when you consider it was airing on Disney Channel.
Sad fact is, despite how far we've come in the last 40 years, a young black man living in the community is still far more likely to find himself in the back of a cop car than the back of a limo.
Today, I saw some things that
things I tried to protect you from.
You think I don't know what it means to be a black man in America?
Well, now I know more of what that means, too.
Well, you know, there are some things that you just don't know until you know them.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be different from my boy.
The show tackled other issues, including an episode on ageism that centered around Miss Coretta. It's a testament to the great writing and acting that these episodes never felt like the very special episodes that other shows had. They dealt with heavy issues in a way that felt organic to the characters and didn't talk down to its audience. That was rare for a late 90s show, and is still pretty rare today, especially on Disney Channel. The Famous Jett Jackson came to an end in the summer of 2001 with the premiere of Jett Jackson the movie. It has the distinction of being the first Disney Channel original movie based on the Disney Channel original series. The movie features Jett switching places with his on-screen alter ego, Silverstone.
Artemis, who are these people and what are they doing at Mission Omega Matrix headquarters?
Jet, are you right?
Jett.
Under different circumstances, The Famous Jett Jackson would have continued. Its popularity had not decreased during its run. If anything, it increased as more and more households received Disney Channel as part of their cable packages. However, Disney Channel had an unspoken rule at the time that shows would not run past 65 episodes. A rule that would remain in place until another series with a black lead came along a few years later.
Yep, that's me.
Elements of The Famous Jett Jackson were used in many of the shows that followed, and over 20 years later, its impact on Disney's programming can still be seen. Disney continued to run reruns of the show, often late at night while most kids were asleep, until 2004, when the show was removed from the lineup completely. The show that started it all for Disney Channel was effectively erased.
The Los Angeles Police Department confirming actor Thompson Young was found dead in Los Angeles just a couple of hours ago. The cause of death not clear at this time. He starred in Disney's The Famous Jett Jackson, currently has been starring in the TNT show called Rizzoli and Isles.
Tragically, in 2013, Thompson Young took his own life at the age of 29. His family later revealed that Young had battled with bipolar depression since he was a teenager. His loss was felt across an entire generation of young people who grew up watching him. I personally always dreamed of meeting him and thanking him for inspiring me to be an actor. Losing him felt like the death of a superhero. He left behind an incredible legacy and lives on in the hearts of his family, friends, and fans. The Famous Jett Jackson laid the groundwork for the Disney Channel shows that followed in its footsteps. If it had not been a success, the channel would look much different than it does today, for better or worse. Despite the show's success, the series never received any type of home media release. The movie was released on VHS and was recently made available to purchase on Amazon and iTunes, but beyond that, the series has not been available to watch legally in the US since reruns were briefly seen on Disney XD's lineup in 2009. In 2019, the series was notably missing from the launch day content of Disney's streaming service, Disney+, even though other shows from its era like So Weird were available to watch on day one. This is most likely because Disney no longer owns the rights to the show. The rights are currently owned by a Canadian company called WildBrain, so Disney would have to pay them in order to stream the show on Disney+. Whatever the reason, I'm hopeful that The Famous Jett Jackson will eventually find its way to home media so that a whole new generation of kids can experience the magic that Thompson Young brought to one of Disney Channel's greatest shows.
Hey, I'm just trying to live my life as a normal kid, but some people still see me as the famous Jett Jackson.
The Thompson Young Foundation provides mental health and wellness education to children, teachers, parents, and community leaders. For more information, visit ltyfoundation.com.